Samal wasted no time. He came forward, his posture strong and sure. I moved toward my right, holding the same form. We circled each other, mere feet apart, each refusing to make the first move. Then, Samal came at me with a testing cut. I easily parried while repositioning myself. He attacked again, and this time his attack didn't let up. I either blocked his attacks or stepped out of the way. After practicing with Ayla, this was almost too easy. I didn't even feel as if I was trying. Samal seemed to sense this, and he attacked with renewed vigor. I internally critiqued his stance, realizing that his posture was too aggressive for tree form. He would have been better suited to flame. He growled, backing away to take stock of his situation. From his tightened features and the beads of sweat coursing down his face, I could tell that he didn't think I would be this much of a challenge. I was still calm, and felt as if I hadn't exerted any effort at all. I wanted to look over at Ayla, but I remembered what she had told me. When you are fighting, you always fight to win. There can be nothing else taking your attention. Samal switched his stance to flame form. I remained in tree, walking forward to let him break himself on my defenses. I knew if I became overly aggressive, I could neglect my defense, allowing the possibility for Samal to score a lucky hit. Samal came at me again, and this time his attacks were furious, and I had to work harder to defend. His forehead was beaded with sweat, and I saw that he was throwing everything he had at me. Indeed, his attacks were powerful. He had a lot of strength. But tree form was good at redirecting the energy of your opponent's attacks, letting them go to waste. All I had to do was wait for him to tire, and then I could press my own attack. It didn't take long. Samal was panting from exertion, his movements slowing. Even as I defended, I found windows to make cuts of my own. This was the true beauty of tree form, taking those tiny hits and nicks that threw your opponent off balance, forcing them to defend. Murmurs broke out in the crowd. Anyone who was at all familiar with how dueling worked had seen this pattern happen countless times. And any time a fight reached this point, the tree form combatant usually emerged as the victor. When Samal began backing away, I knew it was only a matter of time. All the same, I wouldn't make the mistake of underestimating him. I walked forward, taking control of the space. Just a few more steps and Samal would be on the ropes. I readied myself for whatever last gambit he had. But what he did was far from expected. He charged forward, using a sequence I had never seen. His front was left completely open. It was as if he was throwing everything into one last attack, all or nothing. I stepped back, and I was forced to eat the whole of the impact with my blade, which staggered me. Samal relentlessly pushed forward, his eyes gleaming in triumph. For the first time, I felt panic. Samal was no longer using flame form, but something else entirely. It was a form Ayla hadn't shown me. Samal moved gracefully, each of his movements flowing like water. Water form, I thought. That's what this has to be. I had been told water form was difficult to master, but Samal knew at least a little bit. At least enough for one sequence. I noticed a pattern in his attacks. He came in from the right, spun, then came in from the top, then switched to the other side. After he did this 3 times, I realized this was the only sequence he knew. It was wearing on him, but he was determined to win. Defeating him was probably simple, but I just didn't know the correct counter. I was stuck with Tree, and Tree didn't give me enough opportunity to take advantage of the holes he was creating. I knew I had to do something different, and that meant a switch to flame form. But for some reason, I knew that wouldn't work. I didn't know how I knew that. I just did. The only question left was what to do. Tree seemed to be sufficient to hold Samal off. He had relied on the shock value to put me off balance, and it had almost worked. He was getting desperate, but he had a lot of tenacity.